Welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
Good morning. My name's Donnie Glover, and we're in it to win it. June 20th. Lord knows where has this year gone. Well, I want to let you know in another 7 days. Is it the 7th? I have a birthday in a week. I will be celebrating 50, how many years? 57 years of being on the planet. 57 times around the sun. How y'all doing out there? Hopefully you celebrated Father's Day yesterday. Big ups to all the daddies. You get to sleep in the day. We got to go into a little history. And a lot of people don't know what today is and all of the particulars. First, let's say good morning. Who is that up in the studio? Well, that's Rico. We know Brother Rico. Hey, Brother Rico. Father's Day just went down. The good word says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So, big ups to all the daddies. I don't know who is this in the studio. Okie dokie. All right, so I wanted to share some information with you. Today is the national holiday. A lot of us don't even know what the hell we're celebrating. We're just glad to have a federal holiday. The Juneteenth, celebrate freedom. It's a lot of confusion out here. What is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of African Americans. But see, that's what they give you that on the surface. Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery. But what they don't tell you is that this was specifically for Galveston, Texas, for Texas. Juneteenth happened in Texas. It's now a national holiday, but Juneteenth happened for Texas. They got the memo 2 years late. Let me pose this question to you. I got $5 if anybody got the answer. $5, I'll give it to you right now. You do take quarters, don't you? Then if Juneteenth celebrates the ending of slavery in Texas, because the rest of the country knew, they got the memo 2 years late. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? And what actually ended slavery? Do you know? Do you know? Did the Emancipation Proclamation end slavery? Or was it something else? What ended slavery? Emancipation Proclamation, officially Proclamation 95, was a presidential proclamation, an executive order issued by Abraham. President Abe Lincoln issued the proclamation on January 1st, 1863. But it did not end slavery. It gave a date, or it gave a starting point of this process. January 1st, 1863. That's when the Emancipation Proclamation was going on. But remember, the Civil War was what, 2 years later, as the nation approached its third year of the bloody Civil War. The proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are henceforward shall be free. So here in Maryland, the Emancipation Proclamation did not free slaves, because it says as the nation approached, that the proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states. Maryland was not a rebellious state. So the answer to the question is, what really ended the emancipation? Right. Michael Haney gets it. What really ended it was the 13th Amendment. And Mike, you'll make me read all this stuff. It would be much easier if you just came in the studio. Oh, it's me. Okay, all right. Juneteenth is a hoax. There goes Michael Haney. So when the 25th was this United States Cavalry arrived in Texas, mounted on horses and in uniform with rifles, they were ordered by General Granger. He was a general at 43, not to tell the shocked Texas slaves that they are now free. Disobeying General Granger's order not to tell the enslaved blacks that they were free, the black troops of the 25th, in an act of disobedience, informed the Texas in an act of disobedience. Hey, mama, you free? That's disobedience. Hey, daddy, you free? Hey, Uncle Lou, you're free. An act of disobedience. Do you understand the language? And but more than, can you wrap your brain around the type of brain that actually thinks somebody else deserves to be in chains? Karma is real. Let me tell you, as you try to carry poison to your enemy, you are bound to spill it on you. The best thing America can do is to be very, very kind to black people. I think that is the most intelligent thing that the rest of America can do, is be kind to black America. It only makes sense to me, because everything that has been done to us, every action has a reaction. Everything that's been done to us shall be done to others. The good book say it. That's why they say, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I ain't no holy roller. I sin every day, don't get it twisted. But I read the word. I try to digest it. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. We say that we are a Christian nation, don't we? I always grew up hearing that. I pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God. They got it in the Constitution. All men are created equal. All kinds of, we say we celebrate Christmas. I guess we celebrate Christmas. Christmas is supposed to be about the birth of Christ. But in America, if you don't bring no toys, you can take Jesus and everybody else. Come on, Mr. Heaney, explain this dissertation that you have up on the screen. Good morning.
Hey,
Happy Father's Day, brother.
good morning, Donnie. How you doing, man? It's always good to see you. And
You got a lot of headroom above you.
do I have a lot of headroom? Well,
Yeah,
listen,
adjust your camera. Yeah.
let me fix that, man, because I just jumped up so that I could join you, but that's okay as long as you can hear and see a bit of me. That's all that matters. So happy Father's Day to you. I called you to try to wish you happy Father's Day because I know that you're one of those fathers that really care. You know, you raise your kids in accordance to our Father, right? The real Father, you know, and that's what it's all about. So as part of
But
my
also according to my father, Donald Edward Glover.
Hey
God
man,
rest.
we had a awesome show yesterday with 6 fathers yesterday, and we talked about their dads and the influence of their dads in the process. We went down to the corners of Baltimore and talked to the squeegee kids about their fathers, and it was compelling what they said about their dads if they were in their life, right? So
Would
all
you
this is
would you
documented.
say they said the dads were not in their lives?
Well, one had his daddy was not both that we interviewed out of the ones all the ones that were there on the corner of North and the entrance to 83. Most of them didn't have a daddy in their life, but they figured it out. But let me go to this point, right? That these kids, we talked to them
You saw
about June.
black kids at North in 83.
Yep, North and 83. We talked to them on behalf of Black USA.
Because the addicts had taken over that corner and chased the Nation of Islam off that corner.
Man, it was a comfortable conversation with these intelligence kids, man. It was motivational and emotional to be out there with them because they want to talk to us, man. And what better day to go out there and do it than Juneteenth, which is a hoax. And the kids
Did
said
you take them any
Juneteenth.
food?
I took them cash and I took them inspiration and hope. I gave
Oh,
them
that
my
was
business.
beautiful.
I gave them my business cards. They've been in touch with me for jobs. Some of them are already working. It's a social thing for them to be in community with each other and a support thing as much as it is out them washing windshields. You know, we're going to get back to this Juneteenth thing, but let me tell you first about the squeegee kids because I proposed to the city a number of years ago to take squeegee kids and make them ambassadors for the city. You know, let them do it for free, pay them hourly, give them soft and social skills, give them signs, welcoming people, teach them about wayfinding so that they can be a
About
direction
what?
force, wayfinding, how to get from here to there, how to get them from here to there, so that people would get their windows washed for free. If they wanted to know where the shot tower was, or Bromo Saucer Tower was, or Port Discovery
That
was,
would be brilliant.
teach them, teach
That would
them.
be
And
brilliant.
this would
So,
be a lift for them to a future job by starting here on the corners and helping people and indoctrinating and being a good ambassador for Baltimore.
so you know what? I'm hearing you say, just like in baseball, by the young people standing on the corner with the squeegees, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity. These are people saying, hey, I want to work. And I would imagine that when things get a little different on that corner, is where a pedestrian and the ambassador, the future ambassador, have a miscommunication.
Well, Donnie, if we put body cameras on the ones that said they were accosted and saw what their attitudes were, maybe we get both sides of the story, like we did the cop who thought his was off and he was absolutely in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because these kids are out there, as one of them said, he says, "Man, I have a regular job. I just need cash to pay for diapers, etc. Plus, I like to be around my people." And to our point, well, hey, let's flip this. Let's have businesses like Leg Mason and Visit Baltimore, give signs, Joe's Crab House. Let these kids hold up signs promoting businesses, washing windows for free. That's a free service the city is offering. Roll your windows down if you need some direction. These kids have been trained. They've got a captain out there monitoring behavior that comes from amongst them, right? to
and
ensure that
it's not going to have any foolishness on his or her corner, because they get a bonus for every month of zero incidents, not just on their corner, but say a 2 square block radius.
You set up like a corporation, like a visitor center, You put these kids in nice uniforms, right? And then you have them as representative of the city. So how does that flip a script? All of a sudden, you're coming into town and kids are out washing your windows for free, and you're able to give you direction and tell you where to go. They're advertising business.
I can hear Jim Shea jumping in, but what about the legality of this, Mike?
Well, what about the legality they're concerned about of what now? What happens is that the economic justice system of attorneys, bail bondsmen, paid for prison, pipeline.
Well, they got rid of the bail bondsmen. They got rid of the bail bondsmen. Ain't no bail.
Yeah. Well, they still paying cash somewhere. You know what I'm saying? To attorneys. So all of a sudden it disrupts the system to what the system is paying from a negative perspective now. Because if they want to do something to make these kids, and this would just be a lift to where we want to take them ultimately, which is to a job that gives them a future. It teaches them soft and social skills. It teaches them interacting with people. It teaches them how to be calm in a situation that, it could do a multitude of things, but we could flip this real quick.
Mike, last night I got a phone call. A friend of mine, they were telling me their story. I was telling them about the new demographic of addicts in our majority African-American community. There's a new addict in the community. They walk in the streets all hours of the night. And this person I was talking to said that, isn't it funny how the last shall be first and the first shall be last? There was a time, Mike, if you were downtown and you went to cross a downtown street and there was a driver, a Caucasian driver, and they saw you walking near their car, they would lock their car doors. So this African American was telling me how now, when they're driving down North Avenue, and this new demographic of addict comes towards their car, they lock their car doors. Black people locking their car doors from the white addicts.
You and I know an addict is an addict, right? Regardless of the color, But
his reasoning is, listen, these people had a 400-year head start. And now, these people, many of whom are related to Donald Trump and that whole J6 mindset, now those addicts that were kicked out of the white community are now down here on Pennsylvania Avenue, sleeping in alleys.
So, Donnie, my perspective is that it's intentional and it's part of the track to gentrification. So that is the first wave across the bow, is a sentiment to those communities, right? To get them prepared so you can begin to understand and see who it is. Because once the red line comes into effect, tied into the MARC train station up there on Franklin, you're going to see an influx of whites that aren't addicts coming up on Pennsylvania Avenue. I was riding up and down Pennsylvania Avenue 3 times this week, went to see Jim at Avenue Bakery and looked at his plan for some development on what he wanted to do and some other things.
When is the bakery open? I live right around the corner.
The bakery is open every day. It wasn't open yesterday for Father's Day. And hear me out, right? Because I told Jim
it's not open every day.
So hear me out.
For like 5 minutes. I live right around the corner. I want to know when the bakery is open. I'm insulted. I'm no longer going to accept this.
Well,
I live in this community, and I ain't never seen that damn bakery open. Maybe one time. When are they open?
I got sweet potato pies and
I ain't got time to be going around there and they closed.
Hey,
When
listen,
the hell
man.
are they open? 9 to 5?
Hamlin. Hey, hold on a second, Donnie.
I'm not holding on. We just had a Pennsylvania Avenue parade for 3 hours. We didn't see any of these people.
Okay, so I think
yeah, don't bring that name over here. We're not having it.
But you rather take white addicts and give them 15 minutes of conversation versus somebody that may not be doing it quite well yet, to your point, but is down there.
Police. Some of them are police. I got one peg right away because he act like a caveman, right? He act all crazy, walking around no shirt, and I'm surprised ain't nobody bust his damn head. But he walk around real crazy. He the police. And the black addicts just walk up to him like this guy's Jesus or something. He's like the leader of the homeless brigade.
Yeah, I was up on Pennsylvania Avenue. Matter of fact, I was right around the corner from your offices at my good
you didn't
friend.
Bring the coffee.
And my good friend Willie, because I didn't know I was going up there. And you see a changing shift. If you look at it, particularly from the outside in, because I get up there a couple times a week, you're up there every day, you're starting to see some things happening that let you know inside the next 10 years, we're going to see some gentrification efforts. But back to these
I see white addicts touting again. White addicts saying, blues out, coke, dope, and rock, coke, dope, and rock.
Yeah, I hear you. And as soon as the red line is in construction, their parents are going to buy your damn house. But it's all good. So let's get back
to paid for.
Well, they're going to buy it. I said they're going to buy it. They may offer you $500,000 for it and then tell you to go out to Randallstown and, they'll be good because they're around transportation.
This house is legacy.
We all say. That's what we all say.
This house is legacy, okay?
And then they'll put it at a price, just like they did around Hopkins. They'll put it at a price where we can't come back into the community because that's how they redline us, is with the price of housing. They'll buy Donnie out, who bought his house for $30,000 or a dollar sale. They'll buy for $300,000, and they'll make the medium income around there. So the housing market is about $500,000 with those big, fine 3-decker houses in Sandtown and Harlem Park. And
I ain't selling my damn house. I don't need your money.
Yeah. Everybody has their price, including you. Trust me. You and I know that. So you can say it all day long. But if somebody said, "Don, I'm gonna give you $500,000 and I'll put you at a nice little house with a 1/4-acre lawn in Randallstown," your ass would be gone. And so it's all good.
It does sound nice.
It does sound nice. Everybody has a price.
If they bring that offer, how much you say? 500,000?
$500,000, Donnie. And the thing of it is, your house may only be worth $250 at the time, but they know it does two things. It gets you out, and it allows them to put it at a price where they know who's going to be their neighbors and around them. That's how gentrification works. And the first thing they do is send their dope addict sons and daughters, not in their neighborhoods to buy, in the suburbs where they are now. They say, go buy your dope down the street from Donnie. Don't stay in here.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Mike. That's stinking thinking. If you think
I think it's strategic. I think it's smart. Because look who's upset.
Mike, there's something you're overlooking.
What am I overlooking?
It's a spiritual law.
What spiritual law? What spirit have to do with this? There's no.
It's all spirit, baby. Check this out. You ever notice the tornadoes that go from Africa to the Western Hemisphere? There is a group of Black people who would suggest that those tornadoes, those hurricanes that come off the coast of Africa are no more than the ancestral spirits coming straight for the Midwest. Or you ever look at those fires out in California, just on fire, burning up whole communities? There are those who would suggest that those ancestors who had to jump ship crossing the Atlantic, that's a whirling of the spirit. But I tell you, Mike, when you carry poison to someone, you're bound to spill it on yourself. And that's why it's good to forgive and to rid yourself of hate, because
But
What
you
you
see,
what
do
you're not
you hate those
identifying,
dope things in your alley? Do you hate those dope
Mike,
things in your alley?
there's one point that you're not connecting with.
Okay.
Sure, people are coming to buy, people want to buy, they got the money, they buy. But is that really working? Let me get to my point. Black people have a lot of sex and make a lot of babies. That's why they put all the abortions clinics in the black community. You know where they don't put abortion clinics? In the white community. You know why is all this kickback over abortions and Roe v. Wade? It ain't because they care about your black babies. They trying to save white babies. So what I'm saying is, yeah, they coming. I've been hearing that 30 years. I've been in this house 30 years. I've been hearing that they coming. But you know what I know is also coming? The browning of America. So they better hurry up and buy it because they running out of time. The clock is ticking.
Mm-hmm. So you got your point, and I hear you, Donnie, and everybody has a perspective, right? But let's back to these squeegee kids for a second in Father's Day, which was the initial conversation.
We're talking about Juneteenth.
Yeah, but we talked about Juneteenth and Black history with these kids, man, and they said that slavery still exists. This is what two of the kids said, and that interview is available on blackusa.news on the 60 Minutes in Black USA show from yesterday, where you can hear these kids, these squeegee kids, talk about Juneteenth, Father's Day, Black History Month, and from their perspective, what it is. And generally what they're saying is that we're bamboozled and that slavery still exists. And we know that it does because the 13th Amendment talks about that the only way that slavery can be enacted in this country is for crimes atrocious to a point where you can have imprisonment or slavery. So what do we have with 50%?
It's Donald Trump.
No, it was well before Donald Trump, Donnie.
No,
we know from a slave perspective with prisons, 50% of the prisons in this country are occupied by people of color or black people, and a 12% populated country of black people. 50% of the prisons are filled with black people because that's a form of enslavement. You know, with the jobs for 2 cents an hour, you know, that they charge with the cost of prisons for a person a year of $50,000, and then they privatized it, a form of enslavement. And this is what these young people see. And this is why they think when you talk about Juneteenth Day, they're like, hey, man, you know, what's up? Let's see what Chap said. What did Chap say?
Man, y'all be putting these long explanations up here.
And you know what? He's right, because that's why General Granger did not want to tell. He wanted to wait until the crop season was over before he told.
Tell him pick his own damn crops.
He wanted them to finish picking the cotton. He wanted them to finish picking the cotton and the crops before they were told this slavery.
Pick your own damn cotton, lazy self.
Well, you know, Donnie, that's not a reality, you know. And so, to your point earlier, Donnie, about Juneteenth
I told you, well, go round, come round. The same thing that is you do to people will come back around. Let me tell you a story. I know this famous drug dealer when I was a kid. This drug dealer was glorified. Big time drug dealer. Got one son strung out, one son dead. All because of drugs. When you go carrying poison, you may not see it. That's why grandma said by and by. You'll understand it by and by. When you go around doing cruddy stuff to people, it's bound to come back around to you. I don't care who you are. No one is immune. God is not a respecter of persons. Whoever you are, what goes comes. Show me somebody who can avoid karma. Show me one.
So I see Chap's comment regarding there's some toxic.
Except that guy from the 800 club, 700 club. Because that Pat Robinson, karma be missing him.
Yeah, because
And then
I'm
they
not.
get up there and pray for people. After they done said every racist doctrine, they're going to bring Jesus into it.
That's
7
what
Money
they
Club.
do.
Pat, what's his name? Pat Robertson and his son.
Yeah, his son runs it now. In the name of Jesus, it's all commercialized.
When I hear that dude start to pray, it's like, oh my God.
It's all about money, Donnie. We know it. It's just their form of commercialization, and it's okay.
You can't pimp God, brother.
Yeah, you can if you want to. That's what they do. That's what they choose to do. It's okay, Donnie.
Go round, come round.
I'd rather talk about, although I know it's your show, I'd rather talk about in our community.
What you say again?
Pat Robertson.
I know it's your show.
It's your show, man. Right now, for now, it's your show. Because people really want to hear me and you talk.
That's a dry threat.
Is that what that is? I don't think so. So Chat made a comment about some toxic guys on that corner. There's some toxic guys down at the Legg Mason building, and there's some real toxic people at City Hall. So I know that toxic people are wherever. And I heard that, so like we can't generalize the bad incidents. We can't generalize the good squeegee kids out there like Fats, Nate, Pee Wee, Dope Boy. It just depends on who is working those corners. No, it depends on our ability, Chat, because I don't disagree with you. Our ability to interact and not be afraid to mentor and to talk to these young people. Because do we expect Wall Street executives down at North and the entrance to 83? Do we expect
squeegee? If they start sniffing cocaine, they're gonna be there. Not the capacity that they thought.
We expect a squeegee mentality at the Legg Mason building.
Let me tell you something. When I see these white addicts in my community,
there you go.
I notice some of them come from some good jobs.
There you go.
When they first start coming around, clean as a whip, real clean. After one weekend in Sandtown.
But for real, Donnie, I don't give a damn about the white addicts. I don't care about the white addicts in your backyard, man, because that's where they belong.
I do.
That's where they belong. Then move.
I care about it.
And so my point was earlier, Donnie, because it's not that you're wrong, and I'm just being facetious in saying that. I said that there is a bigger coming than those white addicts in your alley. We just have to understand the order of process. And we have to look 15, 20 years down the road. You said you've been there 30 years. They've been saying they're coming. But one thing that has been sure, you go down to Macedonia, you go down to Lafayette Square, St. James, the Black peoples have left. There's one thing about it that they have left, right? Including the preachers who were once the cornerstone of communities. They have abandoned, and they're coming from outside in trying to preach and give the word of the Lord. And that isn't what works. And that's what's missing when we deal with our kids. So talking about Father's Day, Juneteenth.
That's what you get them preachers who are into that material thing. I was listening to one story of a preacher.
You talked about Pat Roberts.
One story of a preacher that moved to Baltimore, and he quickly realized the competition, the competitive nature of the pastors. He figured he'd be having enlightening conversations with other pastors, but come to find out that the pastors fight more amongst each other like community organizations. Everybody's fighting for the same pot of money. And then COVID showed you who your preachers really are, if your preacher really care about the community, because it's so much easier to do stuff online. So then you're doing everything online, and then the question becomes, do we need this church building?
So Donnie, Pat Robertson, there's no difference between Pat Robertson and Creflo Dollar, and I don't want to name any preachers here in town when it comes to commercializing and monetizing the God.
Jamal Bryant.
Hey, listen, I'm not kicking out any names. You can do that all day long. We have some people that think that.
Well, they talked about him. They talked about that church.
Well,
then he got out of town because he went to Georgia for a bigger church, I think, right?
Yeah, so Christianity to some people is being moved.
And then he got up in that pulpit and he said, this is what I'll never forget Jamal said. These hoes ain't loyal.
Wow. And so when you go to Juneteenth,
he said that in the pulpit.
when you go to
Same man
Juneteenth
that
Day,
built the Freddie Gray Center on Utah Street. You know, Freddie Gray was Pennsylvania Avenue, actually.
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. When you go to Juneteenth Day and the commercialization and the bamboozlement of how they all of a sudden, so what if before Biden signed last year Juneteenth Day as a federal holiday, what did they think of us then? Were we still slaves up until last year? And all of a sudden it's federal and it's
I've
commercialized?
never been a slave. My ancestors weren't. They might have been enslaved, but I best believe if my ancestors were anything like me,
Well,
they were
first
looking, for
define
the first
slavery, Donnie.
opportunity,
Define slavery because you are a slave.
looking for the first opportunity to cut the jugular. That's the left side of the neck. I ain't your slave.
Donnie, they cut what's
I
in
ain't your
between your
slave.
ears, man.
I
You
ain't
may
your
not
slave,
be
buddy.
in chains and
I'm a
shackles.
child of the Most High.
Well, Donnie, you know, sometimes we gotta check
And
out
the
our
first
thinking.
chance I get, I'm gonna pull that spear out from Africa.
Mm.
Woo!
So you're a spear chucker. Is that what you are?
You call it what you want.
No, I'm just asking you. You pulled the spear, now you're a spear chucker.
I pull the spear out, you damn Skippy. That's
Yeah.
from Shaka Zulu. Zulu.
Okay.
Did you see what the Zulu did to the British?
What'd
Wore
they
them
do?
hind parts out. But see, then we get the land. We need some gold and diamond refineries. We got to understand the business of refining diamonds because other people have mastered our stuff.
Hey, Donnie.
And you got to stop letting people from all these other countries come into your country and buy it up.
Hey, Donnie, did you know that over 3,000 Black women were down in Texas with the United Colored Troops, and they were dressed as men because they supported their men in the war efforts? You know what I'm saying? Did we know that our women dressed up as men and were part of the
first of whom was
union?
Cafe Williams.
You know what I'm saying?
Cafe Williams.
Yeah, but my point is, Donnie, when we look at Juneteenth Day and the struggle that people went through to tell General Granger, who we are basing our federal holiday off of his proclamation, and this information comes from Black historians that dug deep to find out the real deal. All of a sudden, we commercialize and we buy into when they tell us that now all of a sudden you got a federal holiday. Woo! Let's go. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I want my damn money.
Where we don't really look and take this serious, man.
Matter of fact, you ain't got to give me the money. You got to point to who got my money, and I'll get it.
Your money? You ain't got no money. It's not your money.
I do. And Pharaoh disagrees with you, too. Don't make me bring the German Shepherd to do it.
I think Pharaoh would probably be a great conversation at this point. Put him on the mic.
Pharaoh.
But you know, Donnie, it's all good and well, man. But I think we are misinformed.
Pharaoh, I feel like this guy is bullying me.
No, I'm not bullying you, man. I'm beating you up with information. And we all need to be beat up with information.
Let me give you, because you're gonna need some help, because I'm about to unleash on you.
This is what this news network is all about.
What's it about, Mike?
It is ensuring that we have an ability to compare real information.
There's the link for your allies to jump in and help you.
No, it's not. We are all allies, Donnie. We are all allies, man. We are all supportive. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be able to have this conversation. So don't say they're allies and you are what? Come on, man. You're the one that is the conduit to make this happen. So you say what you say, but be careful with what you say. Because see, I woke up ready, man. If you ain't ready, go ahead and sign off and let them come on and we'll carry the station for the next 45
All right, Leroy McKenzie, I need you to come in, click that link, and Mike Haney has replaced me on my own show.
Hey, listen, man. You know what? You know that you have done good when you are no longer necessary to carry your message. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I've been put out of the White House. I've been put out of nicer places than this.
Well done. You know,
I wasn't put out. I was escorted to the door.
And we admire your humility in backing down gracefully. You know, if more of us understood.
Man, you better pass the ball. Why do people want to stay preaching and they like 98 years old? Pass the damn ball.
It's about the money, Donnie, and we talked about the money, but I want to go back to the kids, man, because Father's Day yesterday was huge. Juneteenth Day is misunderstood, and the connectivity to what the conversation initially started about gives us opportunity to have a difference, man, and to ensure that generations beyond us at our stage, you mentioned in a week you're going to have a birthday. You're going to be 58 years old. You know, what is your legacy to a point where it influences others in your community the way that you want it to, man? And we're almost there. We're almost there because we're talking and we're in conversation with each other and we're comparing notes and we're talking about Jim Hamlin and measuring how he may not be as effective as we want to, but he feels he is.
So when we see Tharu Vignaraja on television, most of us, let me finish my statement. Most of us that love Baltimore see a carpetbagger. I've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. Just because you put a billboard up with some pictures of Kwesi and Thurgood Marshall and you got a bakery and you go around telling people that you love Pennsylvania Avenue, that ain't no more than some Tharu Vignaraja.
We need to have conversation. We need to have Jim.
I've had that
Jim Hamlin. Maybe we bring Jim Hamlin on your show. Tharu Vignaraja.
You bring him on your damn show. I've been down that road. I brought Jim Hamlin on my show 20 years ago when he was working for
it's a new day. It's a new day,
when he was working for UPS, probably where he first got the idea from, because at that time, stop cutting me off. Stop cutting me off.
No,
George Gilliam.
I'm interjecting.
George Gilliam is the one, he and his late wife, Stephanie, that put Pennsylvania Avenue, the Cadillac Parade, the Marquee, back on the map. So if you're going to have a conversation about historic Pennsylvania Avenue, then at least understand the history. It had nothing to do with Jim. This had long before Jim decided to retire and come and do his little project. But George Gilliam is the one we pay homage to, because George and Stephanie got the ball rolling. Dr. Leroy McKenzie.
How you doing, Dr. McKenzie?
Brother?
How you doing,
Good morning. Donnie jumped off.
Man, we kicked Donnie out, man. It's all good. How you doing, Doc?
It's a great conversation. But I did notice you wanted to, and you've been trying to get to it all morning about the squeegee kids and what you would in your conversations with them. I want to hear that. That's what I really want to hear, and how that went with them, because that's huge. Everybody wants to put a negative connotation on those young men, but you went down there. To me, you seem to have gone down there with some tangible solutions, having a conversation with these young boys that said they wanted to talk to you. They're hungry. They
want to talk to us, man. They want to talk to us. I was comfortable. I took God's grace with me. I was not in fear. You know, I was not apprehensive. They looked at me kind of crooked because it was a few of them there, and we were good, man. And we've been communicating since Saturday. But the point of it is that Daphne Austin, the head of Mothers of Murdered Sons and Daughters, said a few weeks ago, why are we afraid of these kids? Let's go talk to them. They ask us where we've been. Yeah. Here's a mom, just like Erica Bridgeforth with Ceasefire, a female, right? Out there leading the effort on corners of our kids that are caught up in these atrocities. And here is Father's Day, right? Father's Day. I'm a dad, I'm a man, and what ownership am I going to take of my community? You know what I'm saying? Not go down to Curl Park and celebrate on a moon bounce or do double dutch. You know what I'm saying? But go down and engage eye to eye and listen to these intelligent children who need and who are begging for our mentorship and bringing some good, reasonable ideas, man, and asking them their thoughts and opinion, not telling them, but what do you think? What's your thoughts? What would you like to see? How can we get this done? So that they have some buy-in to the solutions if there's a problem. Not tell them that, hey, hey, I want you to meet me up at Cahill Rec at 6 o'clock and talk about the squeegee kid. Well, why can't we go down to North? Why can't we go down to Drew Hill Ave where they are and conduct our conversations in their environment and have conversations with them? And it talks about meeting people where they are. So there's a comfort level with them, not our comfort level, man. We're almost on the cusp as a people, as Black people, of changing the dynamics of conversations. And Donnie doesn't realize the greatness of what he has done and started, because we wouldn't be talking like this if it wasn't for his platform.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't have had the opportunity to be on 60 Minutes in Black America on the BlackUSA.News network if it wasn't for him. But the conversations are now very real. I'm at a stage, as you and I have talked about on your show, of seeing more sunset than sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is it that God has for me to do in this duration than to meet people where they are and do what I can in a humble fashion to assist and help? And what does that look like?
No, absolutely, and that's the thing that I love about what you did, and many of us, when it comes to making a difference, and doing those things that we feel are a risk and everything like that, aren't willing to take a risk. And when you meet people where they are, of course, initially there is going to be some apprehension on their part, because they've been in an environment where they don't know who to trust. They don't know, they've been disappointed. I'll use that word so many times, so they have that guard up of anybody that says that I want to help. So they're like, well, what do you mean you want to help? I mean, it's just like in the movie Anton Fisher, when he was looking to get the help, and he finally lets his guard down, and then Denzel, the psychiatrist, basically puts him up, and he's like, okay, you've had your 3 sessions, move on. I can move on. He's like, but what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do now that I've let you in, and you aren't doing anything else to help me? So I know that those young boys, and there's, of course, there's, like you were saying, there's corruption everywhere. You can find toxic people everywhere. You can find toxic people in your own family. So it don't matter. Toxic is going to be toxic.
And
That's just
you're right. Doc, you're absolutely right. And so my question to them wasn't about where I could help. It was about what did they think, because until we have conversation, I don't
right.
know what help looks like for them. And they may
Correct.
not know what help looks like to them unless we talk and dialogue and hear what it is they want. Like Ja, he wants to be a culinary student. He has a job.
Wow.
He uses that cash from the squeegee kids to buy cash, diapers, etc., until he gets a check, because what he's
Wow.
making ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? But he
Yeah.
wants a job working in a good restaurant, making good benefits as a cook. Trayvon wants to own land. He wants to own land. He wants to buy land. He doesn't really want to work for anyone. But the point of it is that they're allowed to dream. They're allowed to dream.
Absolutely.
And until I heard that, how was I to know, other than in the backdrop of City Hall and the police department? If you go down on President Street, you have a multitude of these kids in the backdrop of the police department. How that is the most profound scene in the backdrop of our police department. These kids are going unchecked and unchartered in their life, and we talk about them on the nightly news with the police every night. Now, how can we not figure it out? And where's the dialogue between the police and them to a point, if that's an issue, where we can get to some resolution? It's going to take people like you, me, Chat, David Murphy, Donnie, to carry the message for them, man. We have to be their spokespeople, man, for what right looks like and what help looks like after that dialogue, man.
Yeah. And my thing is always, what they have a problem, and we're trying to assist them to be able to solve it. And you can't solve a problem if you don't know it exists. The only person that's been able to do that, the only person that's been able to do that is Steve Jobs. He gave us a problem that we didn't know existed.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. What you said is that they have a problem, and guess what? I'm gonna flip it. We have the problem.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We have the problem. They seem to be okay from their perspective, but we have a problem with them because
But
of they're not
They're not
interacting.
okay. They're not okay. They are not okay.
I didn't say that. I said that they feel they are.
They know they're not.
Okay? They know
I
that
have
they're
evidence.
Donnie, I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is that until we have dialogue so that we can hear each other, right? That they do have an issue, we do have an issue.
I'm glad you said that.
What's the resolution? Because we're in dialogue. Not Brandon Scott, not Michael Harrison, not Shalonda Stokes, Donnie, Chap, Dr. McKenzie, David Murphy. This is the realness of Father's Day. Fathers that understand sons and brothers that can look them in the eye and get to an honest, emotional conversation. Because if there's no tears, there's no change.
Wow. Wow.
There's no change. There's no help there. There's no help there. But, you know, I hear Donnie, and I'm real with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean it, you know, because at some point we stand for something or we fall for anything. And right now we're falling for Juneteenth, and our kids are out there dying. But we got a national holiday.
I tell you something else we're falling for. We're falling for this notion that we don't need education.
What is education?
Well, Dr. McKenzie, you live in Baltimore County.
Mm-hmm.
There was an all-important meeting last Tuesday.
I was there.
Out in Towson. What happened last Tuesday, Mike?
So they had two closed door meetings before the public meeting that went until 11:30 at night, and I heard 5 people speak to Dr. Williams good. You know what I'm saying? And it's all the city council that's putting pressure on that school district, school board.
County council.
That's county council. It's that county council because, you know, we only have one black, I think he's black, that is on that county council.
Jones is black. He's a Dunbar poet.
Thanks for confirming that, because if you say so, I now believe it, right? And he did come out in defense of Dr. Williams, right? That are putting pressure on this gentleman. And, you know, it's an atrocity, the racism that we continue to see. But I was at that school board meeting for 2 hours.
Who else spoke up for Dr. Williams?
You had the AFSCME, president for Baltimore County.
That's the Association of Federal, State, and County Municipal.
Exactly. It's the Glenn Middleton organization out there. You had the teachers union, the Black Teachers Union, that spoke up for him. You have the past president of the student union that spoke up for him, that came down from New Jersey to speak up for him.
Who made the dramatic presentation?
You talking about the black woman? Because I thought they all were dramatic.
Come on, man. Her presentation was unlike any other.
Yeah, I thought they all were dramatic, and it was good. It was almost emotional to see them speak up for her.
You don't know her name.
No, I don't.
Dr. Cheryl Pasteur.
Yes. Yeah.
Who is soon to be the delegate for the new district in Baltimore County.
Absolutely. You're
absolutely right. Cheryl Pasteur. She should be in charge of the school board. She was on the county school board and left because she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. See, on the council, let me just add this other tidbit. This ruckus that was being caused against the county school superintendent, Dr. McKenzie, Dr. Darrell Williams, was orchestrated by lame duck members who are on their way out. So when this new governor comes in, my understanding is he gets to appoint 4 new county school board members. And also, it should be noted that while right now there's only 1 black on the county school board, it goes back to a point I was making earlier with Mike. There's the Browning of Baltimore County. Minorities make up 60% of Baltimore County.
Donnie, is that a good statistic? You sure about that?
Minorities, black, Latino, Asian, Indians.
Okay.
I'm sorry, of the students.
Okay, right. Of the school district, not the county.
Of the students. 60% of the students. And again, I told you who reproducing, and black and brown babies, they reproducing.
Hey, Donnie, since I'm the oldest, I'm an old guy, old fart here. Can I get 1 minute to plug something that I think is crucial for us on Black USA News?
Sure.
So tomorrow, I have a special broadcast of 60 Minutes in Black America with a guy named Dan Cox. He is endorsed by Donald Trump, right? And people are like, oh, why you do that? If we don't begin to listen and hear what those who may be in power have to say, in addition to that, how do we begin to nurture relationships and change hearts? And he's going to be treated with dignity and respect, as I expect to be treated with dignity and respect, elaborate on his platform, and he is a described QAnon's conspiracist, whatever. But we're bringing him on so we can have dialogue and we can talk about how he would govern a state as diverse as Maryland if he was elected. And he's coming up the polls hard because Trump has endorsed him. But it doesn't mean that we turn our backs and we not listen and have these conversations, Donnie.
Who's he running against?
He's running against Kelly Schultz.
And what's the likelihood that he'll beat her?
He is within 4 points now. He is within 4 points of her. It has tightened up considerably. She knows it and he knows it. Hey, look at the recent polls with Hogan being trounced by Donald Trump if he was to run for president in his own state of Maryland. Okay? His own state of Maryland, Governor Hogan, who has been the most popular governor in the history of the state, according to the polls, if Donald Trump was to run again and Hogan was to run for president, 70-28 is the percentages that Donald Trump would beat Hogan by. So you tell me this guy, Dan Cox, who's not a dummy. He's not a dummy. He has some interesting policies because I research heavily on everyone. He has a chance
What's interesting about his policies?
In terms of what, first of all, he has 10 kids. He has 10 kids and he's not Catholic. You know what I'm saying? So he has this environmental agenda and he has this political agenda that is veiled.
10 kids, but he sides with a guy that has no empathy for children.
Well, you know what? Listen to 60 Minutes in Black America at 1 o'clock tomorrow and you'll hear what it is that he has to say. That's all I can tell you. Dr. McKenzie, it's always a pleasure seeing you, brother. I have so much.
She's gonna kick his hind parts. She's gonna kick him up and down Liberty Road.
Brother Mike, I gotta I wanna connect with you this week too, because I got some things I want to talk to you about too. So, but this has been a great conversation. Donnie, this is what I love about you and what you do. You bring conversations and you bring topics and those things that people aren't going to readily hear about. You really inform us on what's really going on. And I like your, I love your moniker, the news before the news. This is the news before the news. So I appreciate you being able to have this. And like Mike was saying, you bring these things up, and without it, there's so much that we would not know about. So I echo what Mike was saying. I appreciate you for what you do, man. This is what it's about.
So Leroy, before Mike goes, who do you like for Attorney General? Oh my God, he has to think about it.
Well, I mean, I like.
See, by the time
I'll be honest with you,
Anthony Brown has already become Attorney General.
Don't tell me that.
O'Malley's getting smashed. They say the
Yeah.
O'Malley name is Mud from
Yeah,
Pete.
well, we know that. I like Tim. I
That's
like Tim
that's the
Adams.
comptroller race.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it sure was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, because I did see. I I had to laugh when I saw that Anthony Brown was running
He
for
he bought an
state
ad
rep.
on Be More News.
Hey, Donnie, you got to get Tim Adams back in here. We got to hold him hostage, man. We need a forum with Tim Adams. We got to we got to lay hands on him, man, because he
Yeah,
has an opportunity, because he has the ability from cash to really get things going. But he needs to
Our
lay
people
on
are
the hand.
confused. A lot of us are buying the rhetoric from Brooke Learman,
That's why I said,
who came on this show early in the race. And
yes.
he had zero rap for black businesses. And now everybody's saying, "Oh, we got to get Brooke on your show." And I'm like, well,
No.
when she was here the last time, she pretty much told me to go to hell.
You
wow.
tell Tim Adams, you need to bring Tim Adams on with a couple of us, and we need to lay some hands on him and enlighten him and wake this brother up,
Yeah,
because he's a good brother, okay? But he needs a boost, huge, in order to make up a little bit of a gap to make it a race. But
To
he's
Brooke
getting
Learman's
close.
credit, Brooke Learman has scientifically tried to do the O'Malley on the black community, hoodwink us, what's the word? Convene our black elected officials like, come on, vote for me, guys. Vote for me,
That's
guys.
her
I'll be
daddy.
good.
That's her
But,
powerful daddy. Her powerful daddy
but she
is
pretty much
behind
told black
doing this.
business to go jack off.
yeah,
Pretty much, because her daddy controls the slave mentality black guys who are going to ensure that they do
I'm
these
sorry,
rules.
did you just say Peter Franchot had slaves? What'd you say?
I said her daddy. I did not say that. I would
I
never
thought
say
I
that
heard him
about
say
Peter.
Peter Franchot had slaves down
No,
Route 97.
Peter's a good friend who I respect highly, man.
Does
Highly.
he own slaves?
Peter Franchot?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I was just checking.
No. Until someone proves me differently.
You said
No.
Django what?
That's my head of my president. That's my president in Nairobi, Africa, Paul Jingo Masai. Is that who you're talking about?
You said Peter Franchot is the slave's messiah.
No. I didn't say that, Donnie.
We have a bad connection. You said you love O'Malley? What'd you say?
We have a terrible connection here, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's just embrace Tim Adams. Let's embrace Tim Adams. We'll figure out the gubernatorial race, because we have documentable tape holding people accountable for what they say that we can play 3 years from now. Tim Adams needs a laying on of hands of the black community, particularly in Baltimore. He's in Prince George's County, and I think we can help him, but he's got to be ready to listen.
yeah.
Bring him back.
Brooke Learman has worked very hard to get that seat.
Her daddy worked hard.
Her daddy worked hard to get her that seat.
Listen, man, we know how it works. We know how it works.
But let me tell you something. As long as you are a child of God, you belong here as much as anybody else.
Amen.
I agree.
Power to the people. Mike Haney, Dr. Leroy McKenzie. How can people get in touch with you, Dr. McKenzie?
They can connect with me at http://link.tree, and that's linktr.ee/JNF Enterprises. That'll give you a list of everything where you can go. So all social media links and YouTube and all of that good stuff.
Mike Haney,
so
how can people catch up with you?
So Donnie, they can get in touch with me on blackusa.news Facebook page, 60 Minutes in Black America tomorrow at 1 p.m. But Donnie, before we go, the plan for Pennsylvania Avenue, Jim Hamlin, we're going to bring him on, because us brothers have got to figure out how to work together, man. Regardless of what we think.
With respect.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's all
If
respect,
I'm in the conversation, if I'm in the
bakery that's open 5 minutes once a week, you're going to get slammed.
Hey, Donnie, please, let's not go there, man. Let's be smarter and bigger than that. If I'm in the conversation with two enemies and we are to love
I'm
our
not an enemy.
neighbors.
I just call
Let's
a
have
spade
the
a spade.
conversation, man.
If the
Everyone
bakery ain't
brings
never open,
something
the
good to
bakery
the
ain't never
table.
open, man.
Hey,
Stop
we're
telling
not
me go
going
somewhere that's closed.
we're not going to disparage each other's black men. We're not going to do that. We're going to
But we also not going to pimp
and
each
have
other with
conversations.
that bull crap.
Hey, we get pimped every day. So maybe we
I don't
learn
need
to
my
be
own
better
coming over
pimps
here.
from each other.
I ain't a
Donnie,
pimp that.
you have a wonderful day.
Good morning.